Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Pascal, and I'm here today to talk to you of all things about Sorority Rush. Now, I am not an expert by any means on Sorority Rush. However, I do know a few things, and I really want you to know one thing, and that is that your GPA will matter tremendously when you are going through Sorority Rush at whatever university you go to. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been meeting a bunch of my new students, people I'm going to be helping as they finish up high school and they begin their college application journey. And when I ask girls, how do you envision your college life looking, without exception, they have all said, I definitely want to be in a sorority, which is great because it offers a lot of benefits. My own daughter loves being in a sorority. But what I want you to know now is that your GPA from high school is going to matter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of websites. We're going to look at the University of South Carolina, the University of Georgia, and the University of Alabama. And I'm going to give you a feel for how much your GPA will matter when you're getting ready to go through recruitment. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off with the University of Georgia. Now, all of this information is easily available to you. You just have to Google, University of Georgia sorority recruitment, and stuff will pop up, okay? But in the interest of time, I just already have the stuff loaded. All right, so this is their information sheet that they have for people who are interested in going through recruitment. And so when you scroll down here, all kinds of good information, but not what we're going to be talking about. But what I want you to see this question: is there a GPA requirement to participate in primary recruitment? And then it says the Pan-Hellenic Council, which is kind of the umbrella organization for all the sororities, says they don't require a minimum GPA. However, each sorority may establish their own minimum. And if you have a question, then you should contact the chapter directly. Well, don't do that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go over here to this tab. And this is like a booklet that they make, a digital magazine that answers all kinds of questions for the girls who it's their year to go through recruitment. And so when I look through this, all kinds of information, but where is right here, academics. When you look down here, it tells you that the average GPA for girls who are in sororities at the University of Georgia is a 3.62. That's pretty impressive, isn't it, to have a 3.62 in college? But now I'm going to show you kind of a sneaky way to see what sororities or which sororities value GPA maybe even more than the average. So now I'm over here on something called the Greek grade rankings, and almost every university is going to have this. So for University of Georgia, again, I just Google it, and this pops up. And it gives you the information that they had before, that the average, well, they have the average for the spring here is a 3.63. So all the sororities all together, their average GPA came out to a 3.63. Now, Georgia lists the sororities alphabetically. It does not list them by rank. So you can just scroll down and say, okay, here's the top sorority, GPA-wise, the number one, and there they are. And then their spring GPA as a house, and there's 335 total members in that house, was a 3.72. Well, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Right underneath them is the one that had the lowest GPA. They were 18th in the rank, and there's a couple, there were ties. They were 18th, bottom one, 3.56. That's not that different. We're talking about Olympic swimming differences here. A 3.72 was top and a 3.56 was bottom. So this gives you a clue what kind of GPA these girls are earning on a regular basis while they're in college. It also will give you an idea of which sororities most highly value GPA possibly, but I will say at Georgia that the numbers are close enough that I would predict that they all have a high value on it. All right, so now I'm going to go over here and University of South Carolina. It looks a little bit different, doesn't it? Same thing, I just Googled it and I got led to this page, University of South Carolina Fraternity and Sorority Life. And I scroll down and again, information, things to know before you register, dates, all kinds of stuff. What's that? GPA requirement. So I'm going to click on that. And they also say there is no specific GPA required to participate in recruitment, but each sorority has its own GPA requirements. They do go on to say if your GPA is below a 3.0, you may be considered a grade risk and get fewer invitations during recruitment than those with higher GPAs. GPAs are verified through the university once your registration is complete. So South Carolina tells you, you really need to have at least a 3.0. To be honest, if you're getting accepted to the University of South Carolina, you do have at least a 3.0, but that's what they're telling you. So then when I go on University of South Carolina, Greek report, their academic Greek report, they talk about all kinds of stuff, and it is more than GPA, but we're talking about GPA today. So they're all Greek. Community has a 3.51 GPA. Fraternities, we're not talking about fraternities, we're talking about sororities right now. All sorority GPA is a 3.59. So all of these girls in college, their average is a 3.59. So University of South Carolina did it the same way Georgia did, in that they just listed the sororities alphabetically, and then the chapter size. You can see how many girls are in each chapter, and then their GPA. So I'm going to have to scroll a little bit, aren't I? So I see a 358. I'm scrolling. 365, 364. It looks like 365 is the highest one. And again, that's pretty darn good. They have 400 members in their house, and their average GPA came out to a 365. But similar to Georgia, their the average of all the sororities came out to a 359. The lowest one that I'm seeing is 345, a 345. So even that is pretty close to their highest one. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go over here to the University of Alabama. Now, you guys might be in for a surprise here, because I know that the University of Alabama has a reputation for being easy to get into. And while it is easier to get into, it is getting harder, and you're going to probably be pretty surprised when you see this. All right, so I'm on this thing called Greek Chic, which again, you can just Google it, and it gives you all kinds of information. And then here we are at academic requirements. Now I want to try to make this bigger without losing it. All right, statistics for average fall of their last fall, so their last class that went through recruitment. The average cumulative high school GPA of a girl going through recruitment at the University of Alabama was a 3.92. Giddy up. Their average SAT score was a 1217, and then the ACT was a 26. They take academics seriously there, and I know that might be a surprise to some of you. It's not to me. But then they even go as far as to tell you that when you're going through Rush and you're getting invited to parties and whatever, your GPA is going to have an impact on how many parties you get invited to. Now, I want to pause here, because everyone is going to say, oh, I know a girl and she had, fill in the blank GPA and she got tons of invites. Well, that's good for her, but I'm telling you that's the exception. And so don't put yourself in the position of having to be an exception. While you're in high school and you can still do something about it, work on your GPA and give yourself the best chance to achieve your dreams when you get to college. All right, so now here I am on the Greek report for the University of Alabama, and they are a little bit more ruthless, which I kind of love, and they rank the sororities. They tell you right up, this is the number one spot. So the number one for this last grade report was right here, Alpha Chi Omega. They had a sorority GPA of a 3.83. The ones underneath them, they were tied for first. They also had a 383. These are their members, guys. 467 girls, 465 girls, and their average GPA came out to a 383. That's kind of intense, isn't it? But I want you to see this because I want you to know that they take grades seriously, and they want to know when they're choosing girls to invite to be members in their house that they're going to be looking at your GPA. They're going to be looking at tons of other stuff too. I'm not going to talk about that, but I do want you to know, while you can still do something about it, work hard on your grades, go into college with the highest GPA you can go into it with, and give yourself the best chance for success. Good luck.